Tonight's bedtime lesson, out of 2, is about a weather again. It's about hail. Hail is a solid precipitation in the form of balls or pieces of ice known as hailstones. Now, how does it form? Hail forms in thunderclouds when drops of water continuously taken up and down through the cloud by updrafts and downdrafts. When they go to the top of the cloud, it is very cold and they freeze. As the updrafts and thunderclouds are very big, they can keep these hailstones for a long time, so they get larger and larger by becoming coated with more and more ice. When the hailstones get really big, the updrafts in the cloud cannot hold them up anymore and they fall to the earth. By this time, they are big balls of ice and don't have the time to melt before they reach the ground. Hail can only be formed in this way, in these types of convective clouds, unlike snow, which can also be formed in weather fronts and by ascending up hills and mountains, just like rain can. But now, when do we get it? Hail is most common in western parts of Britain, where it occurs most frequently in winter. The land is cold compared to the sea at this time of year, so showers form over the North Atlantic and Irish Sea, driven by the heat energy in the sea. Once the showers reach the cold land, they tend to lose their driving force, the heat, and therefore will tend to die out before they get too far inland. However, sometimes if the atmospheric conditions are right higher up in the air, the showers can continue even over the cold land, and they may affect central and eastern parts of the UK too. In eastern England and southeast Scotland, hail is most frequent in spring. Oops. 1 second. There we are. In eastern England and southeast Scotland, 1 minute. Hail is most frequent in spring, when temperatures are still relatively low enough to freeze the droplets in the cloud. But the temperature of the land is mild enough to generate the shower clouds over the land. While Britain is most damaging, hailstorms tend to occur during summer. These are relatively infrequent. In these situations, the hot land surface has enough energy to generate really tall shower clouds, and the tops of these clouds are high enough and therefore cold enough to form them. Hail in summer is most common in inland parts of northern and eastern Britain, but much less frequent in those areas during spring. Now, how big can they get? Hailstones are commonly spherical or conical in shape. Their diameter can range from 5 to 50 millimeters or more. However, most hailstones are much smaller than 25 millimeters. The largest hailstones tend to form when shower clouds clustered together to form multi-cell storms, which are common in the United States. Now, I did this before, but I'm going to talk about funnel clouds again. I know it's not part of hail, sorry. But this lesson is going to be called Hail and Funnel Clouds. Funnel clouds, or tuba, are extending spinning fingers of clouds that reach towards the ground, but never touch it. When they do reach the ground, they become a tornado. Now, what are they? A funnel cloud is a cone-shaped cloud which extends from the base of a cloud towards the ground without actually reaching the surface. In the UK, they often look like thick, dangling bits of rope hanging from the cloud above. But in hot spots, such as Tornado Alley in the USA, funnel clouds can sometimes be thicker and much more intense. Now, how do they form? A rotating column of wind draws in cloud droplets, making a region of intense low pressure visible. They are formed in the same way as tornado building around this localized area of intensely low pressure and are typically associated with the formation of cumulonimbus thunderclouds. What weather is associated with them? Cumulonimbus clouds are almost always the host cloud from which tuba form, meaning that heavy rain, hail, thunder, and lightning can all be expected. If a funnel cloud does make contact with the ground and produce a tornado, very strong winds can be expected in the immediate time of the vortex, potentially causing severe damage. Now, what is the difference between them? Crucially, a funnel cloud does not reach the Earth's surface. At the point it reaches land, it becomes a tornado. Or if it reaches a body of water, it becomes a waterspout. In a typical year, the UK sees around 30 to 35 tornadoes each year, though it is very rare that they are strong enough to cause any significant damage. Now time for our second bedtime lesson about another sport.